Hi, this is Saffron Barker, and you are listening to Strictly Between Us, radiotimes.com Strictly Come Dancing podcast.
Hello and welcome to Strictly Between Us, the Strictly Come Dancing podcast powered by radiotimes.com. Each week we dissect the drama from the dance floor with news, interviews and backstage gossip straight from Strictly itself. Your regular host, entertainment correspondent Kimberly Bond, is playing pole dark and enjoying scones and clotted cream in Cornwall. So you've got me, news editor Emma Powell, and I'm joined by Frances Taylor, commissioning editor of Radio Times magazine. Hello Frances, how are you?
Hello Emma, I'm well thanks.
So it was David James and Mike Bushell in the dance-off this week in a bit of a battle of the dad dancing, really. Did the right person go?
Definitely. I mean, the thing is, I am no Mike Bushell fan. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think, I know, I'm in the minority, but I do think that they were both the bottom of the leaderboard, and always, if that's the case, then they're going to be the fairest celebrities to actually be in the dance-off as well. But David's card has been marked for a few weeks, I think. You know, it's always good when people start to improve, but I don't think he'd really improved very much, to be honest, in the last couple of weeks. And he'd always been hovering around the bottom. So, yeah, he was, and also he got score 16, which was kind of quite far away from Mike, who got 21 as well. But the right celebrity left this week, I think.
Because there was one point last week, because he obviously had a bit of a reprieve and he wasn't in the dance-off. There was part of me that was thinking, is he actually going to pull this back? And he's going to be
actually,
okay. But then I think this week I don't think it was his worst dance.
It wasn't his worst, no, but a jive. And they kept saying about his height, and I don't think that is much to do with it, really. Yeah. I think a jive has got to be so sharp, it's got to be so full of energy, and it's really noticeable when it's lacking in energy or it's a bit floppy or whatever, and I think that's really what he fell foul of this week. And it's a shame, because I was actually really enjoying him as a sort of Strictly celebrity, but I just think in terms of dancing ability, he got to a level where he was never going to step up to where the rest of them are, really.
And that's the thing as well, I think he was quite lacklustre.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he may well have been really enjoying himself by the end, but it never came across. You look at some of the others in there, like Kareem, he's just completely in it. He
in his
loves
element,
it.
yeah.
Whereas I feel David James is still almost quite stiff.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
never really let himself just go.
No, and that stiffness often, it can't get rid of it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how much training a celebrity has or how much they want it, sometimes if you're just a bit stiff, you can't really get past that. And yeah, I think that was what his problem was. But with Mike as well, if I never see that samba again... it won't be a bad thing.
I mean, I love Mike, and you're lucky Kimberly's not here because she is a huge fan of Mike Bushell.
Oh, it's too cringe for me.
I mean, I feel it's great that he's got to Halloween week next week, but I do feel his time is up after that. I feel like that's sort of the marker where the bad ones start dropping off. Yeah,
I agree. And I think, in previous years we have had, quote, bad ones make it as far as Blackpool. But I just think that his level of kind of entertainment versus sort of bad dancing, it's all completely off. I don't think he's got that je ne sais quoi that people really, really want to see him go far, if you know what I mean. So, like an Ed Balls where you think, oh, you're really, really rooting for them. It's like, he's funny, but he hasn't got that thing that you go, I can't wait to see what Mike does every week. I just find it a bit, no.
You're finding it a bit cringe.
It's too cringe for me. And in that shirt as well on Saturday night,
I mean,
it was
he was just like a dad dancing at he's turned up at the school disco to pick his kid up and just taken to the dance floor.
Exactly.
It felt very like those kind of vibes.
Even Alfonso couldn't help him, and that's saying something.
Exactly. Well, he did give him a 7.
Yeah,
compared
true.
to Craig's 3, I was like, that's a big disparity in the figures there.
There's quite a lot of that this week, though, with Alfonso's very generous marking.
He has been. We will come on to that. Who did you think did the best this week?
Oh, do you know what? Emma Weymouth did so well. I think a dance-off can either make you or break you, and actually it made her. The fact that she was able to pull it back this week with a Viennese waltz and got 9s across the board is quite an incredible turnaround, to be honest. I think she did really, really well. And also Alex Scott, I have to say, she was one for me that every week I've thought she's either done well-ish or really, really not very good at all.
Middling, coasting a bit.
Middle to sort of near the bottom. And actually, Charleston, and they all said it, and I completely agreed, it really suited her. And you could just tell, again, sort of unlike David James, really, that she was absolutely loving it. Really, really just loving the Strictly journey. And that goes a long way, I think, often. But again, the scores reflected that as well, 3 8s and a 9.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think she's found her rhythm now. I think she's finally letting loose and really like putting her all into it.
Exactly.
And you can see that on camera. Like, she was having the time of her life on Saturday night.
And the Charleston, it's hard to not have fun with a Charleston, really.
Exactly.
But yeah, and that's also, again, what's a bit dangerous, where you can have a really good week with a really good dance.
Yeah.
And then next week, or a bit like Emma Weymouth, Venus Waltz is obviously the sort of dance that suits her.
Yeah.
But then when she gets a bit more of a fast-paced one, she could be slipping right down the board again.
I've always thought that she'd be better at sort of the ballroom, the waltzing, stuff like that. She seems well suited to that.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that's definitely reflected in the scores this week. But she's one I'm still worried about, to be honest. She's a bit like too up and down the board.
Yeah. And I think the thing is with Emma Weymouth, I think my worry with her at the beginning was that actually she could be really good, but people would vote her off because she was probably the least well known out of all of them. But I feel like the public are getting behind her now. I mean, obviously she had the dance off last week.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she's proved that with 4 9s, the public clearly like her enough to keep her in, and they're listening to the judges' scores.
Exactly. No, I'd agree with that. And also, it does depend on who your partner is, and Aliash is always going to be a fan favourite as well.
Yeah.
So he's got that behind her. I think that she's one that could actually surprise us and make it a lot further than perhaps we'd have thought, especially for having been in the dance off last week.
She might be a bit of an underdog, and once actually she's got this confidence, she may even get better at the faster paced dances and really come out of herself.
Absolutely.
And Kareem, oh my God, I loved him this week.
Yeah. He
was sceptical about who let the dogs out, but actually I think they pulled it off. The choreography was amazing.
It was, yeah. I don't know how many salsas have kind of jumping handstands in them, but we can look past that because, Kareem, I mean, from week 1, he's been absolutely incredible, and he does just get better and better. I just love watching him just every week. I can't wait to see what he's going to do. And it's weird because his scores are, again, they are good, but an 8 from Craig seems a little harsh, maybe. But
I think that's just Craig.
That is just Craig, yeah.
Because he got a 10 from Motzi.
Yes, yeah, he did, and 2 9s as well from Shirley and Alfonso. But I was going to mention Chris and Karen actually as well. Like I was really enjoying Chris, thinking that he was getting again better and better, and he was one that's really looking forward to every week. I was kind of a bit disappointed this week.
Really? See, I was the opposite. I thought, Chris is getting there now.
Yeah. See, well, I mean, Craig gave him a 5, and again, probably a bit harsh, but I just wasn't blown away by his quick step.
Really?
No.
Oh, see, I quite liked him.
It looked far more, I'm just going for a very slow paced jog than actually doing a quick step. To me,
do you think it was nerves this week with him?
I might have been. I don't know. Again, I'm a bit worried that he might plateau a bit. I think he has got really good dance ability, but he's one that I don't know. I mean, he could again go further than we think, but I'm just worrying that he's leveling out a bit now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with him is he is sort of towards the bottom of the leaderboard, and if we get rid of the Mike Bushell types next week, then I feel Chris Ramsey might find himself in the dance-offs going forward.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
He may even find himself in the dance-off next week, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because David James has gone now, and actually the standard's are quite high.
Well, that's it, actually. When it gets to this point, I mean, we've still got, I don't know, how many is it, like 9, 10 left or whatever, but the fact that, as you say, the Mike Bushell types, you look at who actually falls into that Mike Bushell types category.
Mike Bushell.
And it's Mike Bushell. That's kind of it. Like everyone else, when you actually look at who's left and the scores they're getting and how well they're doing, his standard is really, really high for this stage in the competition.
Well, this is what I was going to talk to you about, actually, because a lot of people have been saying that some of the judges are being a bit too generous this year. And I think Alfonso was giving out, I don't think he gave anything. The only 5, he gave a 5 for David and Nadia, which was kind of fair enough. But his lowest score after that was 7s.
Yeah.
He gave a 10, he gave a handful of 9s. Do you think he was being too generous this week?
He was probably being a bit over generous, but do you know what? That's always the case when you get a guest judge in.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about being a guest judge, if it's just trying to make a good impression or what, but you look down the years, and again, Alfonso did it when he was last on the show, and we infamously had Donny Osmond giving 10s out left, right and centre, which again, later on they kind of went, let's not worry about those 10s because they're a Donny 10 and it doesn't really count. So I think any guest judge always does overmark. So you can't, again, can't take them too seriously in a weird way. But I actually really loved having him back on the show. You sort of a bit sceptical when the judging panel gets a bit mixed up and you think, oh no, I'm going to miss Bruno. But actually, I hate to say it, but I actually sort of preferred him to Bruno.
No, I didn't want to say it.
I feel really guilty saying
that.
I know. It's a bit of me that sort of died inside saying that. But I thought he was really good, really entertaining.
Yeah. I think the thing with Bruno is he's such a staple of the show.
Exactly.
But his flamboyance is the same thing every week. Whereas I feel Alfonso can get really excited, but it's not too samey that you get bored of it.
Exactly.
Whereas I think Bruno, it's a bit... Can you just rein it in for a second? We don't need these massive hand gestures and these crazy statements every single time you critique someone.
Exactly. No, I agree. And I think it is nice to just sort of mix it up a little bit sometimes. And, I thought he was great.
Do you think the contestants perhaps shouldn't really listen to his scoring then? Because, someone Saffron got 2 10s, so, she did deserve it in my opinion. But do you think maybe she shouldn't pay too much attention to Alfonso's 10, because if she sort of thinks she's going to meet that standard again next week, she'll be disappointed if perhaps Bruno gives her an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, and I think what's also difficult is having someone like Alfonso where, yes, he won the US version of the show, but he's not in the same way, like a Motsi or a Shirley, who is a classically trained dancer who knows, all the technicality. He's more there for the, I loved it, you made me smile, that was great. Yeah. Which is lovely, but technically it's not really the same as having a really highly trained professional dancer score you and know what they're looking for and the intricacies of the footwork and all that kind of business. So yeah, I'd say Saffron, enjoy the 10, but maybe don't count on one from Bruno next week.
She did really well, because I was going to say Kimberly actually spoke to Saffron and AJ earlier this week, and obviously Saffron had hurt her back. So a double 10 and 2 9s was quite impressive, and she was saying that her quote was, "It definitely has affected our training regarding her back injury. We haven't been able to do as many hours as we would have liked or have done previously. The competition is only getting harder, so we've struggled, but we're getting through it." And I feel she was quite clearly in quite a lot of pain. So to pull off 2 10s and 2 9s, I thought, hats off to her.
Yeah, definitely. And actually a foxtrot really suited her. Yeah. And again, she's someone that I wouldn't have necessarily thought would be as good at that sort of dances versus, again, like a Charleston. But yeah, she really impressed me. And I think going last as well is always good to end on a high. Yeah. And that is exactly what happened. But the fact that she was top of the leaderboard, I think.
Yeah, she did 38 points, 2 points ahead of Karim and Amy.
Exactly. And again, and quite a way ahead of Michelle and Giovanni as well. And I just think a couple of weeks ago we wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, I know. They're sort of middling now. I'm a bit worried. Michelle needs to pull it out of the bag next week, I think.
Yeah, and I think she did have a tough time with the rumba, as a lot of celebrities do. Obviously, it's a very, very difficult dance. So I think, anyone who has a rumba and doesn't get a good score, you can kind of give them a bit of a pass for a week. But I agree that, she's gone from having a straight out the gate start, like right at the top, and she's kind of slipping down a little bit now. And that could be a danger where these other celebrities who weren't so good at the start, the more they get trained, the better they get, and they will start to overtake her. But I still really love Michelle and Giovanni and their partnership, and I think she's an incredible dancer who, again, I really get excited about seeing.
Oh, I do love her. And the thing, we're talking like similar vein, do you think Kelvin's almost peaked too early?
I think
and he's going to start dropping down?
A little bit, actually. Yeah, I did think that this week. I think he had such an incredible first week that it's almost dangerous if you do that, really, because you've got nowhere to go and people expect so much of you, and you can't really shock an audience anymore. When you've done a performance as incredible as his, it was the samba, I think, wasn't it? The first week. But yeah, so again, I wasn't that blown.
Salsa. Oh, no.
Well, it began with S. Oh, we did a cha-cha this week, but I meant like the very first one he did.
Yeah, samba,
yeah, which was incredible. But I just think, I wasn't that blown away by his cha-cha this week, really. And again, if you had to call like a final 3 or a final 4 at this stage, it would be really difficult.
Well, he's dropped off of the top 3 this week. He was 4th, 3 8s and a 9. So he didn't even get 9s across the board. Finished on 33.
Which again, when you look at some of the other scores, again, Emma Weymouth getting those, and Saffron, you just think, wow, they're celebrities that, again, week 1, you'd have never thought like they'd have been doing better than Kelvin at this stage.
It's like, Kelvin, is your time up?
I hope not, but maybe.
Well, I mean, someone who absolutely deserved a 10 was Johannes for that dance in heels.
That was amazing. I just absolutely love that whole routine. I think that's sometimes the highlight of the whole Strictly weekend is that results show opening number.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, I remember OT did one a few years ago, like again, a fashion themed one. And it just blew you away. And it was the one thing that stuck with you from the whole Strictly weekend. And yeah, Johannes, I mean, I'm such a fan of his. I think it was a complete misfire to not cast him as an original, mains pro.
Yeah, like why have him on the bench every year? He's amazing.
It's crazy. He's really quickly become pretty much my favourite male pro on the show, and I think that routine just absolutely showed how much at the top of his game he really is.
Yeah, I mean, I would be so jealous if I was everyone else of Catherine right now.
Yeah,
like, why is he not my dance partner?
I know, he's so amazing. It was absolutely fantastic, that routine. Anton, I wouldn't say getting in the way, but getting a lot of the limelight. Maybe a bit less Anton in that routine, but even more Johannes, please.
I mean, I would have literally just watched Johannes for that whole opening dance and none of the others. So.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's like you say, the Sunday show is kind of boring. Yeah. Because you have seen them dance, so it's just who's going to be in the dance-off. And
it is pre-recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know that nothing dramatic, exciting, no one's going to really fall over or anything like that.
So you need those kind of dances, because they're really the only thing you want, and then the last sort of 2 minutes where it's so-and-so's gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's quite a lot of padding. Well, then Strictly's quite good at padding, to be honest. On Saturday, you can start those VTs.
Go on and on.
And they're so cheesy. We love the dancing,
but maybe not the VTs. No. One thing that got people very emotional this weekend actually was Will and Jeanette. I mean, Motzi couldn't really speak at first. She was in tears. And honestly, I thought that was such a moving dance.
Yeah.
And I think especially, I mean, we have just said about the VTs and the padding, but I mean, it worked well.
Sometimes the VTs are good when they're actually got a purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. I think their dance was flawless. And I actually am surprised that he only got 1-9.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And the 7 from Craig seemed really harsh as well. But no, I completely agree. He is someone who actually surprises me more and more. And I think as well, having contemporary as a dance, it's funny, isn't it? These kind of the couple's choice or the contemporary, they can really show someone in their absolute best, and that is absolutely what happened with Will, because you just get that much more freedom and that much you can be more expressive, I think, than in a lot of the more traditional dances. And that's the time where you can again really blow people away, and that's just what he did. And really moving, but also just really well danced. If you again take the emotion out of it, you take away the VT and take away the weepy song of Lucas Graham, it was actually just a really well danced dance. I was really impressed. And Jeanette did an amazing job with him as well.
I mean, I really want him to start pushing into those top 3 now each week. I mean, I think he deserves it, and he's clearly enjoying himself,
and he's clearly improving as
is.
well. And that's again, everyone loves the Strictly journey, and it's just really exciting to see people who, unlike maybe Karim or Kelvin, who you just expect to be incredible. It's really nice to get those surprises when people who you perhaps didn't expect so much of, and then actually they just completely knock it out of the park and can really take your breath away. And that's the sort of really exciting Strictly moments that the show can give you.
And I think the other element with Will is it was so emotional, and also because he must be inspiring so many young children out there right now who have some sort of disability and who probably don't think they could do something like this. He's there prime time Saturday night TV being like, I'm showing you can.
Absolutely. And I know again he was quite worried at the start about being able to do lifts and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that he's you watch him dance and you don't think of disability at all. He's just an incredible dancer, and you're right, it's very inspiring, and it's really amazing to see what he's been capable of, to be honest, and again just to surprise everybody.
I'm big team Will fan here. And obviously it wouldn't be Strictly without rumblings of a Strictly curse. They have started up already.
I think they started before the show even started.
Yeah, that's true, actually. So Saffron and AJ have been plagued, I think, pretty much from week one, even though he has said countless times, I have a girlfriend. And
that's never stopped anybody.
No,
Don't worry about that.
So we spoke to Saffron and AJ this week, and they basically said, no, it's not happening.
That's funny.
Saffron just said, in terms of their friendship, she said, honestly, I could never have imagined it. There's always this talk about how close everybody gets, and you kind of just think, oh, really? But it really is true. Not only have I become such good friends with AJ, but I've become friends with so many of the other cast as well.
Oh, that's what they all say.
I mean...
Well, we're such good friends.
Curse happening or not?
Oh, I don't know. I think... I wouldn't, I mean, just with any of them really, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, but I kind of see this little spark between Karim and Amy.
Do
really?
You?
Yeah, that's only just me. I mean, I think she's engaged actually as well, so sorry. But I can just you can really tell with some couples that there's a real chemistry there and a real even just getting on a friendship level. And they just, I think they really have that. I do think Saffron and AJ do have that kind of relationship as well, but I think it's so difficult to tell the truth, if you want, from the getting the headlines. And actually, you know, the more people talk about Strictly Curse around you, it doesn't harm your sort of chances in the show, to be honest. Exactly. That's again to be very, very cynical and journalisty about it, but I mean, to be honest, after oh God, who was it? I'm just thinking last year, Sean Walsh and Katya. Nothing will shock me anymore, to be honest. So anyone could be with anyone, and I'd go, oh, right, okay.
Well, I mean, that is the two people who have been like batting it away as well, is Alex Scott and Neil Jones.
Yeah,
they've had. I saw they've just done an interview with Hello magazine, and apparently they are being compared to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
I mean,
of the ballroom world.
I mean, they could in one of those sort of terrible Lifetime films of Harry and Meghan. They could probably both be cast in those roles, but apart from that, I can't see that chemistry with them really. I think they get on. Yeah, I definitely think they get on, but I don't think there's much of a curse going on between those two. No, personally speaking, I mean, I've got no idea, but
yeah, I mean, Neil has pretty much shut it down. I mean, he said, I'm single, but I haven't thought about dating, coming out of a long-term relationship. I'm just focusing on Strictly.
I mean, this is the thing though, isn't it? When every year everybody gets asked these questions, and every year everyone goes, no, we're just really good friends. No one does one of these interviews and goes, oh yeah, you're right, actually, sorry, we have been getting off behind things.
Exactly.
So again, when deny, I think let's not take it as writ, but you know, I think the conspiracy theory is alive and well, and all the better for it. It makes it all the more entertaining on a Saturday night to be able to try and guess who's secretly copping off with each other as well.
That's the thing. Do you think Strictly wouldn't be Strictly if it didn't have a Strictly curse, let's say, every week?
It's made the show more enjoyable. It is, yeah. It's definitely become a big part of the show. And it's a part of the show that you can't really get rid of now as well, because, of course, you put people of the opposite sex together and you watch them rub against each other for 10 weeks and, you know, tongues are going to wag. And I think that's, it does, as a viewer, it does just make it, again, an added layer of intrigue and interest, but for thinking about what's potentially going on behind the scenes. So it's not something I can just get rid of. And I think it's all good column inches for the show. Yeah, and I mean, Sean and Katya did not help the Strictly curse last year. It's just sort of gone full pelt ahead now. Exactly, yeah. And again, all the better for it, to be honest. Exactly. It's fun. Well, thank you for joining us today, Frances. Thank you. Kimberly will be back at the helm next week when we'll be discussing all the action from Halloween week. Thank you very much.